everybody. Thank you all for joining. I know it must be either the middle of the day for you or maybe a little bit late if you're on the other side of the world. So, regardless of what time it is for you, thank you for taking the time to join. We're going to get started in just a little bit. Hopefully, if y'all were here for like the intro part, you like the music that I played. I've been trying like new intro music because I keep hearing the same like electro pop all the time. So we have a couple of options for music choices. So hopefully y'all like that one. I thought it was like a little bit more chill, like maybe a little bit more calm. I don't know. Let me know how you felt about that music and if you want the old one back. Hopefully that's not true and hopefully y'all liked what I picked. But if not, no worries. If you haven't gotten the opportunity to check in for our stream today, please make sure you do that. I put them in the chat for Twitch and for YouTube. I also have it highlighted up here on the stream. So make sure you check in for this link. This is going to be a long stream, 2 hours. So if y'all are here and spending the time to watch the stream, I want to make sure that you're getting the credit where the credit is due for this stream. So make sure you check in at this link. And hopefully I'm not scaring y'all off with the, oh my God, it's 2 hours, because it's going to fly by really quick. We're going to do a lot of really interactive projects. It's not just going to be me talking to you. If y'all have come to my streams before, you know that's always true because I really don't like kind of just talking to the void. Like, this isn't a Zoom class. I can't see your faces. So I am quite literally just talking to my own face. So as a result, I like doing some interactive portions to see if y'all have any questions and to see if y'all are gaining some hands-on skills with that. So don't worry, this is not going to be 2 hours of me just talking and yapping to you. It's going to be a combination of me streaming, teaching y'all stuff, and also giving some helpful live interactive demos. So hopefully that sounds interesting. I see a couple of new people joining. Hello. Make sure you check in at that link. We're going to get started in just a little bit. So if you don't know what the stream is, we are seeing how web apps work. And let me just double check really quick because I think my message that I sent in the Discord did not actually send. Let me double check. Oh man, it did not. Deeply unfortunate. Okay, so give me one quick second. I'm just gonna send a quick message because I feel like sometimes people wait on that and they're like, oh, where's the message? And I want to make sure that everyone is able to join my stream. Sorry, y'all. Looks like that message did not send. Let me open Discord back up. I closed it so that I'd have more computing power. But stream. Oh. This is the worst Discord message I've ever sent. Like, usually I'm like, oh my God, like, if you're interested in this, like, come join. If you're interested in that, like, come, like, check it out. And this time I'm just like, I'm starting it now. Please join. Yay. But hopefully people are able to stop by. Be quite sad if they're not. Oh. Oof. Sorry, guys. This is totally on me. I don't know what I did and why that did not go through. But let me see if I can get that so that whoever logs in later can see it. Okay. Hopefully I didn't lose too many of y'all. Super sorry about that. I just sent the message. So it looks like y'all were just paying attention to the schedule. Sorry if you didn't see the Discord message. That is on me. It looks like it did not send. And we'll check my internet connection. I am in a different location, so like maybe that's why, but excuses. Basically, we're going to be starting the web app stream now. Check in if you haven't already, but I'm going to go ahead and get started. So we're just basically going to be covering something that you might use like every day, but not fully understand how it works. I feel like before I got into web development, I was like really confused how everything worked. I was like, how does this just load? Like everybody sees the same thing as me. Like how does this work? So I'm just going to walk you through like the entire journey of like what happens when you type something in your browser, like you type a website URL to the exact moment when it shows up on your screen. So we're not just going to like explore what happens like as the website. We're going to see like how it works behind the scenes too. So hopefully that is useful and interesting to y'all because we're gonna go ahead and get started. So before we get started, quick fun fact about me and also who I am. Hi, I'm Vanashini. I'm a coach at Major League Hacking. And fun fact about me is I have a blahage. If you don't know what that is, it's basically just a blue whale. Like that's what blahage means. It's like a fat thing. Like I literally think it's like almost as tall as me. But this is my blahage. I recently got one at a hackathon. I went to Hack the Six, and a former MLH coach gave me a blahage, and I was super happy about that. And I absolutely love blahages. They're just like a really cool, really cute plushie, and I think they're absolutely adorable. So that's my fun fact. I'm gonna take the check-in link down, but don't worry, it's in the chat if y'all need it. So this is just a quick agenda of what we're gonna do. Like it's not like very strict. Like this is just in general what we're gonna do, and we're just basically gonna start out with a big picture, what a web request is and what that process looks like. Then we're going to go into the front end. Then we're going to take the back end, which is like back end, like what you don't see because it's not on the front. And then we're going to look at the databases and the data flow. We'll look at the APIs, and then we're going to put them all together using a real example and show you all some extra parts about putting it together and combining the front end and the back end. So I know that a lot of us use websites daily. In fact, you're on a website right now. I see some of y'all are on Twitch. I see some of y'all are on YouTube. So like those are typical web apps that we use. And yeah, so YouTube is one, Twitch is one. If y'all have any favorite web apps that you use, feel free to put that in the chat. That is super exciting for sure. So let me know if you're interested in something and you would like to talk about whatever web app you are working on or whatever you spend a lot of your time on. Like I know that a lot of people really like Instagram and people are like obsessed with that. So maybe that's your favorite web app. But let me know if there's something that you're super into. But also I know that sometimes there's like streams that are like kind of moment to moment. There's a slide. I don't really have that. I basically just have like part 1, part 2, part 3, because most of it's just going to be like on VS Code. Hey, Aviolax, how long is the stream? It looks packed. Yeah, it does look pretty packed. This stream's going to be 2 hours. So most of the technical streams that you'll go to are 2 hours. I'd be a little bit confused because you're coming off of Rosenda's 2 streams with CK Editor and MongoDB. Those are 1 hour. Those are kind of like our smaller streams, like partner streams, more focused on getting y'all involved in those partner streams. But these are the technical streams. Those are also technical streams, but these are like a bit longer technical streams. This is part of a 4-part series called like How Things Work. They don't build on each other. They're just like kind of how things work in general. And this is going to be how web apps works. So yeah, it's going to go for 2 hours. So 2 hours from now. So for me, that's 2 p.m. CT. Don't know what time that is for y'all, but that is how long it is. Hopefully that works for you. If you get fatigued midway, hopefully you can like take a break. And also if it just feels like too much, don't worry. You can log off and then watch the YouTube video back at your own time whenever you like. So no worries. Even if you had any other questions. Hello, Shivam. Is it web dev? Yes. So we're going to be going a little bit into web development. So we're going to be JavaScript, HTML, CSS. It's not purely like how to do like web development. This is more just like how do web apps work in terms of connecting front end and back end. But like no worries if you want to do some more web dev because we are going to be covering a little bit of that as well. But if you are super interested in web dev, I did a stream last Global Hack Week about intro to web development, and that's on our YouTube channel. So if you're really interested in web dev and you want to learn more about that, feel free to check out that link. So we're just gonna be moving into part 1, like kind of the big picture of what web apps are. So first I wanted to clarify something really quick. not all websites are the same. You've got two main types of websites. You have static websites and you have dynamic websites. So you can kind of think of static websites as like a printed piece of paper. It's the same content for everybody. And like, regardless of when you're visiting it or where you're visiting it or who's visiting it, it looks the exact same. So if the person who designed it wants to change something, they have to manually update whatever that text is and then like redeploy it or reprint it. So it's like pretty old school, just like it's static, it doesn't really change. That's kind of what static means. So if you're interested in what dynamic is, so dynamic websites are a little bit different. Those change depending on who's using it and what's happening like in real time based on data. So when you log into these dynamic websites, if they have a login page, you'll be able to see your content. So you won't have to reload the page, it'll just automatically update. So you can think about websites that we use in our day-to-day, like Gmail, YouTube, Facebook. Those are all dynamic websites, and they change depending on who's using it and like what data is available at the time. So those are like dynamic versus static. Hopefully that makes sense. So I want to know, do y'all think that, do you think Facebook or Meta, do you think that is static or dynamic? Love to see some responses in the chat. If static and dynamic are too hard to type out, static for one, or one for static, two for dynamic. And Victory Taunt, which is correct. Yeah, dynamic. Thank you for your response. Yes. Facebook is dynamic. Yes. Ali Oxon Free is correct as well. Two, dynamic. Yes. Apps non is right as well. Two, dynamic. Yay. Yes. So Facebook and other web apps like Gmail and YouTube are dynamic. That's their whole purpose. They're meant to be dependent on who is using it and like how people are using it, where they're using it. So great, y'all are getting the concept. Nice. G Mohan also too. Nice, good job. Y'all are doing great so far. So like I was saying before, we're gonna be doing live demos throughout this whole like stream. If y'all want to code along, make sure you get VS Code out and have like a web browser ready. So like Google Chrome, Safari, just depends on what operating system you use and what browser you really like to use. I say VS Code just because I am a huge proponent of VS Code. Like VS Code's #1 advertiser. I just really like it. It works very well. It's a great code editor. So make sure you download it if you don't have it already. But you can also use any code editor you want. There's not really a specific use, like necessary use for VS Code. I just like it. And the cool thing about VS Code is like you don't have to send different links for different operating systems because it automatically identifies your system and then switches the download link to that. So that's super cool, and another reason why you should always download VS Code. So make sure y'all download that if you don't have it already. But we'll get a little bit into like how the web works in general, like kind of the big picture. So if you don't know already, when you're visiting a website, basically what you're doing is you're sending your message, like a message from your computer to another computer that's like somewhere else in the world, and you're just asking that other computer for information. So whatever browser you use, maybe Chrome, Firefox, Safari, it acts as a sort of translator. So like kind of the maybe like 5-step process for how this process works is first, you're going to type a URL into your browser. So that can be like what we were talking about, like YouTube, Facebook, and you can type that URL within your browser. So like youtube.com, like facebook.com. And then the browser is going to send a request over the internet to the server at the address that you put in within your browser. Then this server or this like other computer is going to process that request that you just asked for. Then that server is going to send back a response, which is usually an HTML, CSS, and JavaScript file. And then your browser reads those files and then builds the web page that you're going to see. So basically, what builds your web page is going to be your HTML, CSS, and JavaScript files. So you can have a bunch of different files, but usually what files will be presented when your browser is trying to read those files to build you a web page are going to be HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So those are going to be the main files that you're going to need. And this is kind of like, you can think about it like, there's a lot of different analogies you could use, but like I'm a foodie, I really like food. So okay, that just makes me sound big. Like I like trying new food. That sounds better. So like an analogy similar to like a restaurant is like basically you see the waiter, you tell the waiter what you want. That's a browser request. That's like you putting in the URL for your link. And then your waiter takes the order to the kitchen, or like the cooks. That's going to be the server, like you putting your request to the server. The kitchen, like slash cooks, they cook it. That's like processing. Then they bring it back to your table, and that's the response. Like the waiter, the server, they're bringing the response back to you, and like you eat it. Like you eat the food. That's the browser rendering the page. So the browser basically makes the page using the files that it got from the server, and it's like super similar to like the cook brings you the food and you eat it. Like you take the final product. So hopefully that very convoluted analogy made sense to y'all. I try to make things a little bit more fun, but I don't know if that made sense. Hopefully it did. And we can kind of think about web apps like split into two main parts. So we can think about them in terms of the front end, and then we can think of them in terms of the back end. So I'm sure you've heard these words thrown around a lot, and especially if you're like a web developer, or you're someone looking for like a job, you might have heard like front end software engineer, back end software engineer. And basically, what that means is if you're front end, everything you see and interact with, so like buttons, forms, text, images, that's front end. Back end is kind of like this hidden engine that stores data, runs any calculations that your code requires, like checks login information, and talks to other systems. So that's like kind of the main difference between front end and back end. Also, just like more easier to understand, front end is the thing you see, back end is the thing that you don't see. So you can kind of have like the way that you should think about this going is like user to browser to front end to back end, database, back end, front end, user. So let me try something. I kind of want to like draw. If any of y'all like saw my scribble.io mini event stream yesterday, you know that my computer, I'm like terrible at drawing. I'm terrible at drawing in general, but my computer also just does not help me when I try to draw. So I found this like really cool website that can help me like draw. Well, it doesn't help me draw, but you get the gist. So basically, we're gonna make like a little box here. We're gonna make another one. Oh, I guess I can't make another one. Okay. And we're gonna put some text in that box. So this is gonna be our user. Oop. Let me copy that. No, what about the box? I want to copy the box too. Nice. Okay. We've got our user, and then we've got our browser. So this can be your Safari, your Firefox, whatever browser you use. And then we've got our front end. Thank you, Mango. Thank you for the support. Your drawings were not worse. Your drawings were 10 out of 10. My drawings were bad. I forgot who drew the SpongeBob, but if any of y'all are curious, you should check out the mini events chat channel, like the mini events voice channel, and then the chat associated with that voice channel, because there are some pretty hideous drawings in there. Someone drew SpongeBob, and I swear that SpongeBob was really good. Like everybody got it. It was just the funniest thing I've ever seen, because like it didn't look like SpongeBob had like rabies. Like it was really interesting. I really enjoyed that. That was like one of the best times of my life, basically. So okay. So we're actually gonna get rid of this. I don't know why I drew like double the amount that I needed to. So I'm trying to make this interactive because I was thinking about just like making this beforehand and like explaining it to y'all, but like now you can see it, me doing it real life. Yes, we were talking about Scribble. 404 drew the SpongeBob with chicken pox. So if y'all are interested, go ahead and check out that channel. I think it had rabies. I think chicken pox is too tame. Like it was like rabid. It looked scary. But basically, this is kind of the way that data flows. So it's going to go, let me take a blue arrow this time. So it's going to go from user to browser. Then it's going to go from browser to front end. I lost my arrow. Browser to front end. And then you're going to go front end to back end. And then you're going to go back end to database. So this is where all of your data is stored. Your back end's getting that. And then you go database to front end. and then, or sorry, I screwed that one up, database to backend actually, because once that backend makes a request to the database is going to go back to the backend, and then the backend is going to communicate that information to the front end to display to the user, and then the front end is going to go straight to the user. Ooh, it's got like little turns. Yeah, y'all get the gist. Can I not connect it? Damn. Wow, this is hateful. Hello? Why does the arrow never... Okay. I need to... That was a vicious arrow. Hold on. Let me try that again. Okay, there you go. I don't know what that arrow is being a little temperamental. I ran out of the time before I could add warts. Okay, SpongeBob doesn't have warts. SpongeBob has holes because he's a sponge that lives under the sea. You're incorrect. There are no warts. I think you tried to paste the screenshot, but that's the file name. I don't think YouTube and Twitch chats have like capabilities for images for very good reason. Front end has to do a lot to get to the user. Yeah, exactly. You're right. Wart Bob, don't like that. No worries, no worries at all. I appreciate the effort, and I like that you went and tried. Let me know what you think about that picture, Solar Gamer. Do you think that looks like a SpongeBob? I don't think so. So this is basically the way that we've got our requests going. So this is just kind of how it works. You go from user to browser, browser to front end to back end to database, database back to back end to front end, and then front end all the way to user. So I'm kind of curious, where do y'all think we are querying the database? Because like, is there a specific arrow that you think has a request to the database? So like when you ask for the information from the database, what arrow do you think that is? Sorry, I know these questions are like really basic and like really boring, and y'all are like, are you serious? But like, I'm trying to get engagement, guys. I want to see that you're awake. Yes, thank you, Allie. Back into database. You are correct. Ding, ding, ding. So we're going to put a circle around that. Maybe you make it orange. Yay. Bro, that was a horrible circle. There you go. Okay. Yes, that is where we are querying the database. Thank you, Allie. Perfect. And yeah, just like that's kind of where we are getting that information from the database. 44 says I'll ask it on the client side like true coders. Fake. Wrong. Incorrect. You know that's wrong. It looks like SpongeBob with chickenpox. Okay, honestly. These are Solar's Gamer's honest opinions. So 404, there you go. I guess your intent got through. SpongeBob with chickenpox. So hopefully this diagram helped the process of web apps be a little bit more clear to y'all. This is basically going to be our reference point for every other session. And we're going to be doing like a journey along these arrows for every other one. So hopefully that made sense. But now we're going to do like a quick little deep dive into the front end. So that was like part one, just a quick intro into what web app processes look like when they like process. But we're going to switch back over to the fake slides where I'm literally just going between sections. But let's talk about the front end for a little bit. So this is the part of the website that you actually see. 44 says, next time I'll make SpongeBob be depressed. Oh my gosh. Suffering from radiation sickness? I don't even think you have Do you have radiation under the water? Am I like dumbing myself right now? I don't think you do. I'm sure most of SpongeBob freeze frames are basically that. Yeah, SpongeBob looks really weird. Like if you pause SpongeBob SquarePants, like the show at any moment, like it's just so odd. I don't know why the animators did all that. But back to front end. If you've ever clicked on like a web page and you've hit inspect, you're basically going to see 3 building blocks, and that's going to be HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So these 3 are like the biggest parts of front end web development. If you're ever going to be developing any front end part of your web development, you are going to be coding in CSS, HTML, and JavaScript. HTML is like basically the structure. It's going to be the skeleton of the page. CSS is going to be the styling. Like, I guess you could think about it like the makeup of the website, because it makes it look like pretty and it makes it look like kind of polished. And JavaScript is the brain. It basically lets you react to the page, or lets the page react to whatever you're doing, clicking buttons or typing, and then the page can react based on that. Ooh, the chat is blowing up. I think you can get radiation, but it's less underwater because the radiation dust doesn't travel as much around in the air. You're not derailing the stream, don't worry. I love when y'all text. I don't even care if it's off topic. Like, that's why we do live streams. Like, if we just wanted to get technical information out to y'all, I feel like we would just do like recorded videos. It's like, yeah, have fun, bud. Like, nah, I don't want to talk to all y'all, but like the reason why we have live streams is so that we can talk to you. So you are not derailing. Don't worry. But that does make sense, because I feel like radiation is like waves, right? Like the water is a no. I'm gonna stop. This doesn't make sense. I'm glad to hear that you're wheezing. Hopefully this is funny and engaging and entertaining for you. Yes, it does sound like 404 has researched a lot. Oh, yay! I'm glad you love this stream. We are chill. Join our streams all the time. All the coaches, all the streamers are so chill. We just want to talk to y'all and not talk to an empty screen with no chat. So feel free to join all of our streams. We are super chill. Researched a lot how to nuke pineapple pizza stands. Oh, yikes. Okay. For legal reasons, that's a joke. Okay. Now I'm kind of scared. I like pineapple on pizza. Yikes. That's pretty awkward. Okay. If you think about something that you hate that websites do on the front end, so for example, like maybe pop-ups, like loading, like weird animations, that's like all front end, unfortunately. So if you see pop-ups or anything like that, now you know who to blame. Now you know which developers to go to like be like, what are you doing? Like, that's all bad. I am glad to see that there are some other pineapple and pizza lovers here, because that's the only right way to go. There's honestly like not another right way. So if anyone thinks otherwise, it's just wrong. So glad to see there's some sororities in here. But we're going to go into like a quick little deep dive into front end and HTML basics. So if y'all have VS Code, open that up. If you've got another code editor, open that up. We are basically just going to get started into like HTML, and we're going to like make our first mini website. So let's go into VS Code, or whatever code editor you have. I'm going to switch over and share my VS Code instead of this like odd drawing I've got going on here. Okay. Yay! Okay, here is VS Code. I'm going to go ahead and start coding in HTML. Feel free to open up your VS Code, open up your editor, make a new folder. I've already got my folder here, so I'm just going to open it up. I'm going to go open folder. I'm going to go to my desktop because that's where it is. And I'm going to go to the front end folder. Feel free to call your folder whatever you want. I called it like, oh no. Oh my god, okay, wait, hold on. Just wait. I'm turning it off. Bro, I swear it's not me. Oh my god. I just went to another hackathon. What was it? Well, I didn't go to a hackathon. I went to MLH's Roadshow, and I was like working on some stuff from like the prep video, and whatever. I'm not gonna defend myself. You know I like dark mode. That's all that matters. Damn it. I should have turned it off. I swear I need to start checking before these streams. I need to like set on a reminder for myself, like the day before streams start, like turn on dark mode. No, I don't like flashbangs. Incorrect. I'm a dark mode lover. Everything is in dark mode. Except when I stream. Actually, 502 fire. Don't know what that is in response to, but yeah, I agree. Ooh, that's funny. We've got 502 and 404. What other number are we going to get next? I don't know. Let's see. But let's go back to my VS Code that is in dark mode because I'm a dark mode supporter. Basically, I've got my file opened up, or my folder opened up here, and I'm going to call it index.html, like basic streamer I am. Basically, you usually use like index.html because that's like the typical naming convention. Feel free to name it whatever you want. Like I don't really care, but I'm just gonna call it that for now. Oh, they are flames. Nice. Glad to see there's flames in the chat. Researchers named a fungus after someone. Oh my god, that's so weird. I can't imagine like going on a hike and then you see like a mushroom or like a fungi on the ground and you're like, there's SpongeBob SquarePants. Don't be like afraid. We're going to eat SpongeBob SquarePants because it's not poisonous. Like that's just weird. Flames that I'm getting. Oh my god. I don't have light mode. Y'all are delusional. Do not go and check the recording. If you're on Twitch, there is no actually shoot. I think you can go back and on Twitch. There is no light mode. There's only dark mode. Ooh, what is that? Who is that? Yeah, I don't really know what that is. Yay! I feel like the gist of those emojis are like happy. Okay. Let's go back. So we're going to get started on our coding. So basically in HTML, if you haven't coded in HTML before, you use these little like arrows, like carrots, sometimes people call them, to start your lines of code. And your basically first line of code is just going to be like what the document type is. It's in HTML as we're coding in HTML. So make sure that you have that as your first line. That's why we've got that there. No, let's not do that. Let's not quote me. Don't. Okay, you're not putting this anywhere but the stream, and hopefully when they look at my stream later, they don't see this. We are not going to eat SpongeBob SquarePants regardless if it's poisonous or not. Put that away. Put that comment away. So we're going to get started. That's our doc type HTML. And then we're going to go with our HTML tag so that everybody knows it's HTML. And once we've done our HTML tab, we're going to go with our head tag. And then we're going to do title. So head is kind of just like for the heading. That's what the head tag does. And now we're going to do a title tag. So we're going to call it my first web page. Page. And there you go. It's already done our closing title. So we've got our title tag again. If you notice now there's this like slash there, that's because it's a closing tag. So when you have the slash, that's what identifies that it's a closing tag. So you know that whatever tag, whatever content you had in it, it's now done. So that's the end of our, so you see the same thing in like the head and HTML tags too. So that's the end of our head tag. And now we're going to go into our body tag after the head tag. So new body. And in our body, we're going to have an H1 tag. So this is our heading 1, so biggest heading next to the title. And then we're going to do hello web. Well, we can do hello world. As the real coders that we are, we're going to do hello world. And then we're going to do P for paragraph. So this is like a smaller type of text. And we're going to do, this is my very first live HTML demo. It is not total lie. I've done so much like web development streams, but for y'all, hopefully this is. Apparently are called tags or angle bracelets sometimes. I didn't know that. Yeah, they are called tags. I didn't know they were called angle bracelets. Interesting. I think I'm going to keep calling them tags because I don't know if anyone would understand that I was like, guys, let's get the ankle bracelets up now, and I don't think anyone knows what that means, so I'm gonna stick with my tags. Don't lie, you know this is not your first GHW. 404 has streamed at GHW's before, so this is not their first time. But this is our basic structure for our HTML that we're gonna have, and we're basically just gonna go ahead and save it, and then we can open it in our browser. So one more thing, if y'all are on VS Code, let's make sure that you are getting a very cool extension installed. If you're not on VS Code, you can also just deploy this website through other methods. Let me know if any of y'all are not on VS Code and don't know how to open up this file on the web browser. You should usually just be able to double click on a file and it'll open up in your web browser. Let me know if that's not working, because I'm going to go through like the live server extension to increase the VS Code propaganda. But let me know if something's not working. But basically, we're going to search up live server. And this is by Rithvik Day. And I don't know who that is, but he is good. And it's going to have like a bunch of downloads, bunch of like reviews, and you're just going to click install here. And basically what this is instead of like going through like a complex deployment method or trying to like deploy it on a website, you can just live deploy it using your local host and within VS Code itself. So download that, and then once you'll download that, you may have to restart VS Code, so make sure you go ahead and save your file. There'll be a button in the bottom right that says go live, and that's what you're going to click on to open up your website. So I see the chat blowing up. Okay, buddy, this is for the people that are on the stream, so that it's their first live HTML demo. I will let him give that away if he wants to say what his name is. He is found. Lies. Person who tells that ways to use things. Interesting. Yeah, 404 had a web scraping stream, so if you're interested in finding out who he is, you can just go to the YouTube channel on MOH and go to the web scraping stream and you'll see him. But let me know if y'all are having any difficulty getting that started. But if you're not, I'm going to go ahead and click live. And you can see it's running on port 5500. So let me go ahead and copy that. So it should just open up in your browser. So let me show you. It opened up in mine. I have to stop the VS Code. Ta-da! You can't see anything. Ta-da! Okay, this is the website. So you can see the title isn't there. That's because that's the title, like the head is the title of your webpage. So if you like click on if you look at your tabs, you can see the names of your tabs, and now it'll say like my first webpage because that's the name of your tab. And then you can see like the hello world. This is my very first live HTML demo. So there you go. You made your first website. It's not actually deployed anywhere. Like it's deployed on your local host. So like if I Control-C, Control-V, whatever URL this is at, it would not show up for y'all because this is on my local host. If you want to deploy your website, like there's always ways to do that. There's like GitHub pages, there's Vercel, a lot of different options. But this is just like basic web development for now. Yes, 404 has been found. People know who you are. Yay, there you go. Compliments for your stream. Good job. 502 enjoyed your stream. Very nice. So hopefully this is working for y'all. Put in the chat if it's not working for you. Actually, no. If it's working for you, give me a thumbs up or like some type of emoji that's appropriate, of course. Or like some comment. I don't know. Just tell me if it's working. And if it's not working, let me know so that I can help y'all with that. But just like put an emoji, put a comment. I am hoping this is in response to it is working and not something else in the chat, but hopefully it's working for y'all. If it's not, like, let me know. The whole purpose of the streams is to work with y'all live. So if something's not working, I would love to troubleshoot with y'all. So just let me know. But I'm going to keep heading along so that we can keep adding some more stuff to our program. But basically, you just created a web page. That H1 tag, like I said, is a heading. You've got your P tag for the paragraph. And the HTML language is basically just like a bunch of tags that are telling the browser what each thing is, like what each piece of content is. And that was like the HTML part. So I told you there's going to be like 3 parts to front end, and that's going to be HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So we covered HTML, and now we're going to go into the CSS. So let me stop sharing and add VS Code back in. Damn, I lost VS Code. Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay. There's VS Code. Yay. We're back to VS Code. Hopefully y'all got that live server downloaded and you're able to run it. And now we're going to make a new file, and we're going to call it style.css. And the reason why we're calling it style is because CSS helps us add style to our code. So that's why we're calling it that. So feel free to add whatever style you'd like. I'm just going to add like a quick basic couple of stylings, but feel free to do whatever you would like. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to do the same thing. So with CSS, it kind of aligns with HTML. Is we've got our body tag, and then we've got like H1 tag, P tag. So the way CSS works is that we target specific tags within HTML and we show how to style them. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to style my body tag because I want that to look super great. And I'm going to call a font family. So this is just like the type of font, and I'm going to do Arial, Helvetica, Sans serif. Actually, I just want Arial. I don't want Helvetica. So my font for my body is going to be Arial. And then my background color, I want to set that too. So let's set my background color. Okay, maybe it didn't like that I did that. I think it might just want me to pick background color. And I'm going to do a specific color that will not be revealed that you will know about in the future. Semicolon expected. That is a semicolon. Ooh, that's my bad. Sorry. There's a semicolon at the end of that. Once you've declared your font family, you want a semicolon, and you want that actually at the end of each line. So at the end of each line that you are writing, you want a semicolon, except for like when you are highlighting specific tags. Are you going to be changing the font color in CSS? Yes, I will be doing that. I have used this before. It's honestly not that hard if you keep doing it again. Yeah, you're right. It's super easy to work with CSS because you're basically just targeting the tags in HTML. So once you know HTML, super easy to pick up CSS. And yes, thank you, Allie, for that tip. It is the semicolon. Yeah, we are going to be changing the font and the color like we're doing now. So you can see like different colors show up here. So feel free to change it to whatever you want. My secret is gone. It's actually right there, so you can see what color it is. That's deeply unfortunate. I'm going to try this color. Dang it, you can see it again. That's black too. Okay. And I'm also going to align. So you can see that like when I do this dash, you can see all these different types of, I guess, features that CSS has that you can help make your web page a little bit more fancier. But I'm just going to do a couple just to show you all the power of CSS, and then like y'all can customize it to however you would like. Then I'm going to do H1, and I'm going to do color, and I'm going to do dark blue. Also, if we have time at the end, feel free to customize as much as you want, because I might do like a demo time at the end where we can deploy your projects to GitHub pages and we can show them off. So feel free to customize them as much as you want. And if we're not able to get to that, you can send them to me in a thread and I will look through them and enjoy them. Do you think HTML is the easiest programming language of any other language? Yeah, probably. I feel like other programming languages, I think it's just because HTML is like not really like a formal programming language. Like you don't see people doing like LeetCode in HTML. It's not like something similar to like Python, JavaScript. Yeah, it's not like a formal programming language. You can't really do like I said, like you can't do LeetCode in HTML because like you don't really have like objects, and you don't really have like you can't make projects with HTML other than like web browsers. But yeah, it's like if in the broad general sense of like the word programming language, yeah, it's probably the easiest. Looks 404. Yeah, HTML isn't really a programming language, like a markup language that shows you stuff on the screen. And yeah, like I was saying, you can't do logic with HTML, you can't do LeetCode, which is the only important thing. Yeah, that's your good. So that's like kind of a little bit of functionality that I have. I've got my heading as dark blue. Again, feel free to customize that as much as you want. Just kind of what I want to do. And now that we've done that, I'm just going to hit save really quick, and I'm going to go back to my index HTML file. And inside my head tag, I'm actually going to add a link to my style sheet. So I'm going to call it link relation, and I'm going to do style sheet because that's what this, oh, I forgot my equals sign, equals, and I'm going to do style sheet. Having a tough time spelling today, I guess. And this is going to link to style.css. Wow, really tough time spelling. Jeez. And basically what this does is it just tells you that like the style sheet for this code is going to be using style.css, which is the file that we created. And it's just easier for your browser to be able to find that and for your code to be able to understand what your styling is. Scratch would probably be my best bet for the easiest programming language. So fun and so hard to make remotely complex functions. Yeah, I agree. I feel like Scratch, is like children's beginning programming language. I feel like when you do like game development with kids or when you do like coding for kids, they teach Scratch first. And yeah, it is super fun, but it's very difficult, like 404 is saying, to make like actual things. Like if you want to make a real like open source project or something, not Scratch. I'll be making an AR project for my college. I'm just starting learning because I'm second year, very impactive health issues now. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that you had health issues, but congratulations on starting college, starting your second year. AR project sounds super cool. Yes, good luck, good luck. Let's wish Sajal Farouk good luck. Yeah, so now we've got our link to our style.css file, so that's perfect. And we're going to actually just refresh the browser. So guys, this is the beauty of of live server. You don't have to like redeploy a website. You don't have to like do anything. You basically just like go back to your webpage and it's automatically uploaded. So let's go ahead and look at that. So y'all saw how my website was before. Kind of ugly, kind of just not great. And you're about to see what it's gonna look like now. Like stunning. And here's the website. There you go. So you can see that it's like centered. It's dark blue. It's got this like kind of gray background, black text here. So yeah, this is a couple pieces of the CSS styling. Hopefully this worked for you. Let me know if it didn't work for you. The whole goal of these streams is to, or at least my streams, is to have y'all code along with me. So I will not gain anything if y'all are just sitting here watching me. So please code along. Let me know if y'all have any questions, anything that's not working, or you have any questions about functionality. That's literally what I'm here for. Yeah. Yes. There you go. Outpouring of support, Sajal. Aw. I love seeing. That's cute. Yes. Glow up to the page. It's now gorgeous. Yeah, so now we have like this lake layer background, blue heading. But like I was saying, CSS is like purely just for looks. The structure is still HTML, but now it's just like prettier. That's all. Now we're gonna make it interactive. So let's go in and we're gonna go back to our folder, and now we're going to make a new file. We're going to call it script.js. So now here's the final part of making a front-end web app. We're basically going to have our JavaScript. So we're going to add an event listener, which is basically just whether or not something has happened. And that's what you add like a listener for. So it's like listening to see if this event happens. And we're going to do DOM content loaded, which like basically just means whether or not the content of the website has loaded. And then we're going to do comma, and we'll do equals, arrow, and then we're going to, where'd the parenthesis go? Did I lose the parenthesis? It's going to be down here. I'm going to push that all the way down here. And then I'm going to open up a bracket. And we're going to do constant. We're going to call a new constant, and we're going to do constant heading because this is what I want my document listener to be. So I'm going to do document query selector, and it's going to select my H1 tag. So any content within H1 is going to be selected. Remember, we need that semicolon at the end of JavaScript and also CSS. And then we're going to do heading dot. So this is on my constant. I'm going to do heading dot add event listener. So again, the same event listener here and here. And this time the event listener is going to be click. So when the user clicks on something, I want something to happen, and we're going to code that something. We're going to do open bracket. Not page reveal event. Oh no. Okay. Again, I'm adding way too much space. Don't worry, I'm going to delete all of it. But we're going to add an alert, which is basically just like a pop-up within the user's browser. And I'm going to do like, LOL, you clicked the heading jokes. Feel free to put whatever you want. As you can see, it's clearly not serious, and I'm just doing something to do something. So I'm going to delete all these empty spaces that we don't need anymore. Just wanted to make sure that we had all of that. And don't forget, we need our semicolon at the end of our code lines, similar to the end of the parentheses as well. And we're going to do that again here too. Okay. There you go. So just to summarize what we did, Oh my god. No, you can't see the VS code. Guys, this is so upsetting. This is why I try to check so often. It's so upsetting. Damn. Okay. Yay, it worked, but I went with a green font and Cyan background. Okay, glad to hear. Glad to hear. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that you used some creativity and made your own website. That's super cool. Damn. 12:47. Damn, I went like that for 2 minutes. It's so upsetting. Ooh, okay. Bye, 404. Yes, we are gonna have a radioactive SpongeBob free rest of our days. Do not worry. Damn. So many. He will be haunting us with his radioactive SpongeBob, correct? Damn. That was not hilarious. That was embarrassing. There's gonna be. I hate that these videos are like recorded and on YouTube because now like forever it's gonna be like immortalized. Yeah, man. This is so important. Buns. Okay, it's fine. There's the code. Hopefully y'all got it. I'll like wait here for like a couple seconds that if y'all need to code it or copy it. But yeah, we've got our event listener. We're checking to see if that content has been loaded. And then once the event listener determines that the content has been loaded, we're gonna make this new constant. We're gonna select our H1 tag, whatever content's there, add an event listener for click, and then once the user clicks on it, we're gonna do like, LOL, you clicked the hearing, haha, joke's on you. And now that we've written that JavaScript, we are going to go ahead and add a reference to that. So again, we're going to go back to the HTML, and this time we're going to do this in the body tag. So right before that last body tag, we're going to add our HTML file, and we're going to do script src equal script.js, and we're going to do our close, and then we're going to do our closing script tag. Oof. Yo, what is going on there? Nice. Okay. So if you're wondering why we did like the link up here and then the link here, so like head versus body, the reason is because when we load the head loads first. We want to have CSS there first because we want that styling to come up, and then we have our JavaScript because that's more within the body. So that's kind of like the reason why we've got that. Yeah. So we're going to link that script in the HTML. So we're going to go ahead and save that. And we're going to go back to our web page and we're going to reload it. So let me show y'all what I've got. So make sure you reload your page if you've got live server, otherwise just reload in general. So here's my website. It looks the exact same, but let's click on the heading. There you go. LOL, you clicked the heading. Jokes. Don't know if y'all can see that because like I don't know if it shows you that, but here, let me see if I can try to like share screen, entire screen. Sorry, this will be an infinity window for a second. There you go. LOL. So it's like I click on that and there's an alert that says you clicked the heading. Jokes. Let's stop that. Okay, so that is basically the reason. Or sorry, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, so sometimes when you click on things, it'll be like, error, you can't do that, error, you can't click here without permission. And that's kind of what that alert is for. So if y'all want to change the message to something, drop it in the chat and we can add something super creative to the alert and change the alert to that. So if y'all have any ideas, feel free to try it. Feel free to let me know and we can put that in. Let me know if something's piquing your interest. Do you want to see like an alert for something? I mean, if not, we can just move on to the next part. But okay, I think we might move on to the next part. I think sounds like nobody has any ideas, but that's okay. So let's talk a little bit about how the browser rendered that page. So basically what we did was the browser downloaded our HTML file, and then it saw that link tag that we had, and then it downloaded the CSS. Then it saw the script tag and it downloaded the JavaScript file. Then it combined the HTML plus CSS into like an actual page that we saw, and then it ran the JavaScript. So that's why we have our link and script tags, so that we can make sure that not only is the HTML file running, but it's also running the CSS and JavaScript files that are linked. So let's actually take a quick peek into what is happening. So I keep saying like, oh, this is the file loading, like this is how the file loads. But like if y'all want some reassurance that that's what's actually happening, let's take a quick sneak peek. Let's do window. Let's do, yeah. Okay. Infinity screen again. Sorry in advance. So here is my webpage. Basically, I'm going to right click and I'm going to click inspect. Y'all might have something that's like inspect element. If you're on Chrome, it might be like Chrome Dev Tools. And I'm going to right click. I'm going to inspect element and I'm going to click on this network tab right here. And on this network tab, you can see that it loads different files. So let's reload. And you can see that it loaded in the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript files separately. And this is why it's super important to have your front end optimization and like make sure that it's not taking a bunch of time, because the browser fetches each file like separately before the page is like fully ready. Like you can't see this because it's like 3 milliseconds, like it's not going to show you the processing for that. But it does load every file separately, and that is super important. So let's go to the slides. So that's just a little bit about how front end works. We got into a little bit of HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. So hopefully that was fun. Hopefully that was useful for y'all. And now we're gonna move on to our third part. We're gonna move on to the back end deep dive. So we're gonna be deep diving into the back end of our program. And basically, we're going to be switching from front end to back end. So a little bit of a mind shift switch. And the back end is kind of like where the magic happens, like where everything really goes down. And this is because the back end is basically running on a server. It's not running on your browser. You've got the back end storing data, processing requests, and talking to other systems. Without a back end, many of the websites that you see would basically just be like fancy posters for whatever company, because there's not really like any data that it's running based off of. It's just like a fun dressed up HTML file. Sorry, I'm hungry. The stream is like going through my lunchtime. Just a little bit hungry. But basically, like that analogy we were talking about earlier where you have like the waiter. So think about it this time that we have a different analogy. It's still like waiter, food, chef, restaurant, whatever. But this time you're ordering the food. You tell the waiter what you want, and that's the front end. You see the front end, you see the waiter, and then the waiter is going to give your order to the chef. So that's the back end. And basically, you're going to go towards the back end, and you're going to get that order to that chef. Then the chef is like preparing it. Maybe they're like grabbing it from the fridge, like they're cooking it. They're getting like food from the fridge, data from the database, and they're going to like send it, give it back to the server who's going to give it to you. That's kind of how backend works. So like if you're at a restaurant and you're like, oh, like let's say you're in an Italian restaurant and you ask for pasta. That's like maybe the most basic Italian food that you could think of. And what if the waiter's like, there's no pasta here? Like there's no food at all. That's like kind of, you can imagine that as what a front end without a back end is. And that's why it's really important to have a back end, because without a front end, you're kind of just like empty air, like you're blowing hot air, because you don't really have anything. It's just kind of like a pretty page. There's not really any content like behind it. So we're gonna set up a super quick backend, and we're gonna be using Node.js plus Express, just because it's really useful for live demos. And we're gonna be starting from scratch just so that you can see everything. There's no like pre-code, like starter code or like boilerplate code that I'm using. We're just coding everything together. And basically, we're gonna make another folder because you want to make sure that your project files are organized. So let me go back to VS Code. And show y'all what VS Code is. I mean, you know what VS Code is, but like show you what I'm doing in VS Code. Okay, so this is the folder that I already had, and I'm going to open up a new folder, but for you, you should create a new folder. And it's like, call it whatever you want. Ideally, you have the name backend in it somewhere so you can like differentiate between front end and back end. Feel free to do whatever you want. And we've opened up this new folder. I've got like my backend folder, and I'm going to click terminal, a new terminal. If you want a keyboard shortcut for Mac, it's like upper arrow, shift, a single quote. I feel like it's just easier to click new terminal, but if you're interested in that, feel free. And so we opened up our terminal, and we're going to write a command here. We're going to do npm init-y. Basically, all this is doing is giving your project like an ID card. It's telling Node.js, which is like npm, like here's a new project, and this is where you're going to find the details for this new project. You've got this like -y, and that's just saying like say yes to all the defaults so that we don't have to answer like so many setup questions. Because if you don't do -y, when you initialize a project, you're going to have a bunch of different setup questions, and I'm just like, I don't care about all those questions. I just want the project to start. So I'm going to run that. I'm going to click enter. And you can see it says it wrote it to this file. It's got like all these different keywords license. So that's what is the difference, is that if you didn't put -y, it's going to ask you like, what keywords do you want? Who's the author? What's the license? What's the description? And it's just like too much work, not enough time. So we're just going to go ahead and do -y for default. And then I'm going to do npm install Express. So I told you we were going to use Node.js and Express for our demo. You can kind of think of Express as kind of like the manager of this program, because it's making it super easy to handle requests from the front end. So like the user makes a request in the front end, and the back end sends back responses. So Express is kind of just like what is managing that go between. So we don't have to write a bunch of boilerplate code. We can just use Express. So I'm going to click and enter for that too. You can see it is running. It's got that, and boom, there you go. It installed it, so that is perfect. And you can see it installed a couple of node modules and JSON files too. So I'm going to make a new file, and I'm going to call it server.js. This is going to be our server, if you couldn't tell by the name. So there you go. I see a couple of comments. Okay, so this website. Yeah, good job, Solar. Good job creating that website. Yeah, GitHub Copilot is pretty great. I use Copilot in our code sometimes, and it's super useful because it helps you work through your code. And yeah, looks like you've got a compliment. Nice, good job on your code. So we can also, like, once we've created this file, we're gonna start like coding in this file. So we're gonna write const express require. Let me spell that right. And we're gonna do express. So we made a constant before, but this specific line, what this is doing is we're telling Node.js, like, I want to use the Express library that I just installed in my terminal. This specific part, this like require Express part, is just importing whatever code Express has into our file, and then we're storing it in this Express variable. Then we're going to, once we've made that constant, we're going to do const. Hopefully y'all can see my VS Code. Yeah, you can. Copilot is the best debugger. You're right. Yeah, real. This is a valid comment, because Copilot is a really good tool. It's like having another programmer, or like having a friend who knows computer science that's just constantly watching over your shoulder. So if y'all haven't hopped on that GitHub Copilot trend yet, hop on it. It's really useful. Gemini is also really useful. So feel free to hop on those. And then we're gonna do const app equals express. Basically, what this means is we're going to be calling the express function, which is going to give us like an app object. And this app object is really, really useful because it can like listen for web browser requests coming in, and it can respond properly. So that's why we're using Express. And then we're going to set up another constant. We're going to do port equals 3000. This is basically just like we're going to serve the web app on port 3000. This is like a super common choice for local development, but you can pick anything else as long as it's not running on something else. Like our front end automatically ran, but I'm just specifying it here just for like convenience sake. So feel free to do that if you would like. And now we're going to kind of get into like the actual code. So I'm going to do app.get. I'm going to do a single quote, a backslash, I'm going to do comma, and I'm going to do request, comma, res. And then I'm going to do the same thing I did before with like the equal sign and the arrow. Ooh, equal sign, arrow, bracket, and then I'm going to do res.send. I'm gonna say hello. Oh, hello from backend. Super unserious. Feel free to put whatever you want. And basically what this is saying is whenever someone visits this URL, so just like the homepage of our server, which is why we've got, oh, that's actually not supposed to be an L, it's supposed to be a backslash. So whenever someone visits like this homepage, like which is the root URL, that's kind of how you refer to that. Whenever someone visits that, it's going to run this app.get function, and this function is going to get two objects. You can see rec.res. So rec is short for request, and it has all of the information about what the user requested for. Then you've got res, which is short for response, and that's how we send something back to the user, like the response to the user. In this function, we do like hello from the backend, which is basically just like a plain text message. You're sending that back to whoever made this request. So we can check, like if you literally go back to like the localhost 3000, you'll see that there because you're just sending that to whoever made the request. And then we're going to do app.listen. Oh, not app.get, app.listen. And then we're going to do port, comma, parentheses, equal arrow. And then we're going to open up a bracket. Console.log. And I'll say, like, in the console, just for good purposes, I'm a server running at HTTP, and this is how you get to that local host. I spelled local host wrong. And $sign, and I'm going to add in my port that I called earlier. My parenthesis, and I'm going to end that. Nice. I'm not an semicolon here to end that. So basically, this is just saying like listen for requests on this local host for port 3000. And you want to do like this little arrow. You want to make sure that we can print this message to our console so that we can confirm that it's running. Basically, when we save this file and we're going to run node server.js at the terminal, our backend will be like alive and listening. And then once you visit this in the browser, you'll see that hello from the backend because it's coming from the server that we just built, since we turned on this listener to see if something is running on the port or not. I'm not really sure what the context for this is. WordPress is good. Like it's good. I don't really know, like, if there's context. If there is, let me know. So we've got that, and that's our code. And basically, we're going to save all of our code. So just click save. And here, I'm going to do node server.js. Hit enter. And there you go. It is running at our localhost. And I think I might have typed in that port information wrong. Let me check if there's like another single quote somewhere. There's actually just like no need for this. I might as well just do localhost 3000 and just do that. So I think I don't have like the specific thing that I need for that. Let me try that again. npm or not node node server.js. Okay, there you go. So the quick change that I made, I just don't think I have the quote that I need to make that right. Basically what I did was I just changed this line in case you didn't see it. And instead of like all the post stuff, I just, after the colon, I just put 3000, which is the number that I picked earlier here for the constant port. And then I quoted it and then I ended it so that you can see where that's running. You see, we printed that out to the terminal so that we know. Again, you don't really need this. This is just like for us so that we can see where the server is running and like just a fun message for us. But you don't really need that. And let me show y'all. Ooh. Don Folayan, there you go. They've got the quotes. See, like I'm looking at my keyboard right now. I swear I don't have that anywhere. deeply unfortunate. Like, I know that's what you're supposed to use, but I'm looking at my home keyboard and I don't have that. But if y'all want to use that, Don Folian's got you. And that's the quote that the single quotes that you will use. Thank you for that. Really appreciate it. So let me show y'all. It is running. So it's running on my local host. Let's take a quick swap. So we've got logos 3000. There you go. It says hello from the backend world. It is working. 10 out of 10. And that is the backend talking directly to you. And let me take a quick hack. Yeah, so this is kind of how the backend works in general. We've got like our specific code working this way. I see a question. In this case, the backend server is our local PC, right? Trying to wrap my head around this now. Yeah. So basically the way this works is that like we've got our front website and we're just working out of the backend right now. Specifically, our code has this like app.get. It's getting the response and request. So yeah, we're doing this all locally. The backend usually does like work like locally on your PC. When I talk about databases, it's more just like data stored within a database within your backend. So it's all locally running on your computer, but it'll be a little bit different if you like deployed it somewhere and had it somewhere else. And you are correct. There it is. Yeah, I see it now. It's like hidden on my tilde. Thank you. I appreciate that. Now I know where it is. 10 out of 10. So now we're going to talk a little bit about how we can handle JSON data. So most modern backends use, most modern backends use or send data as JSON, which is basically just like a super lightweight object or format that looks like a JavaScript object. And basically, we're going to start writing some code to add our objects in as JSON objects. So we're going to be adding a new route to our backend, and we're going to be doing, let's go back to our backend. I don't think I'm sharing the backend anymore. Let me go back. Oop, not an image file. Okay, back to the server file. So we are back here, and now we're going to do app.get, and this time we're going to ask for API/user, comma, and then again we're going to do our request and response, and our equal arrow, and then we're going to do backend open. Perfect. So here we're adding a new route to our backend at API user. So basically we're telling Express that when somebody sends an HTTP GET request to this path on our server, we're going to run this function, and we're going to write a function here. And basically this like app.get is just like our earlier app.get that we use here. You can see it highlighted there. Except now instead of using this for our home page, we're going to be using API user, which is like a different endpoint for our URL. Then again, we've got our request and response objects. And inside this like route that we're going to do, we're going to add in a couple of JSON objects. So I'm going to do name, and I'm going to put like Bob. My go-to name for anything is Bob. I used to do like my like name at like a not a grocery, like a coffee shop or something. I'd say like, yeah, it's like Bob. And that was like the most embarrassing thing because people would look at me and they'd be like, Bob? And I'd be like, yeah, that's me. So I stopped doing that. But yeah, Bob is my go-to name. Okay, I am seeing a red squiggly line. What did I screw up? I forgot to do res.json. And let's actually just switch this code out and put it back in here. Tab it. Boom. Okay, so this is important because instead of sending like plain text, like what we were doing, like hello from the backend, we're sending JSON, which stands for JavaScript Object Notation. That's like JSON. And it's basically just the language of APIs. Front ends and other programs love JSON because it's structured. It's basically just like a JavaScript object that's like really easy to look through. And if you've ever seen data exchanged between two different apps, like two different apps are communicating with each other, it was probably in a JSON format because that's just super easy. So we've got an object that has a couple of key value pairs, 3 specifically. So we've got name Bob, that's our string, age 28, that's our number, and then like hobby coding, which is just another string. So when the browser or something like Postman, like a tool like that that gets APIs, hits this user point, they're going to get this specific JSON as the response. And then we're going to close it like we always do. So that's the end of our function. Basically, what this whole section means is like when someone visits this at the API user location, we're going to send them a nice JSON object where we've got this like fake Bob person. And this is like really big in terms of like programming, because now we are not just sending text, we're sending data. So this is kind of like that database thing that I was talking to you about, because this JSON object is a piece of data. And that's exactly what a backend does for most web apps. It's giving us the data that we'll be using to render things on the screen. So I'm going to go ahead and save that again. And I'm going to delete my terminal, make a new terminal, and I'm going to run nodeserver.js again. And you can see it's running there. So this time, instead of running my local, so I'll put it here so y'all can see it, but I'm going to do this /API/user. So just add /API/user to the end of whatever your server is running at. And I'm going to go ahead and show y'all what that looks like. And boom, there you go. So you can see my JSON object has popped up. Super duper cool. There's also an option for like pretty print. Ooh, yeah. So this is just the object, but this is like a pretty object. And this is really cool because you can now deliver data. This is a piece of data, not just text. And if y'all want to change the JSON to describe yourself, like put your name in, put your age in, put your hobby in, feel free. It's just a cool way to see what the backend is. So yeah, that's kind of the way the backend works. That's how we send data. And also we can do like a little piece of information where we can do like a quick front end and back end connect. And we can do like when you click a button on a site that sends like show me my profile or like show me my email, the front end is going to send a request to the back end API. So let's take a quick peek at how that would look like in VS Code. So let's go back to our code. And this time we're actually going to switch back to our front end code. So here we've been in the back end code. I don't think I have that tab open, so let me open up that file. New open folder. There you go. Front end. Okay, so I'm going to take my JavaScript and I am basically going to replace it. So I'm going to keep this top because I still want this, but now we're going to remove our event listener because I want to make something different happen with our JavaScript. We're still going to keep that first line though, because we're still adding an event listener with DOM content loaded, and we want to check to see if that happens. So let me add my closing braces, closing braces, parenthesis, and my semicolon, just so I don't get any errors there. And here we're going to fetch. We're adding a fetch request, and we're going to do HTTP localhost 3000 API user. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about this. So the reason why we did this is because we want our JavaScript to only run after the HTML has finished loading. And that's why we have our DOM content loaded there. So once we've got the page loaded, it's going to run the code. Here, we're going to do our fetch request because this is how we're going to make an HTTP request from our front end all the way to our back. Oh, I'm literally not showing anything. That's so embarrassing. There you go. Okay, basically what I did, let me go back. Damn, guys, second time in a row. Well, not in a row, but second time in general. Basically, this is our front end folder that we created earlier. We had a backend folder and we had a front end folder. I want you to open up the front end folder and then go to your script.js file. I'm going to delete all of this code and just keep that first top line the same. And now I'm going to write a new line and do fetch. Use my fetch function, and I'm going to go to that URL that we used earlier to get that JSON object. Local host 3000 /API/user. There you go. So basically what this does is, like I was saying, let me actually go ahead and add my closing stuff so it doesn't keep yelling at me. But so we make an HTTP request from our front end to our back end. This is our endpoint that we created using our Express server in the back end. And we need this like full URL, like the HTTPS, because the back end runs on a separate server, which is 3000, like we specified, but the front end is elsewhere, like 5500 or something else. Like y'all might have opened it as a local HTML file, but I opened it up on the live server, right? So that's 5500 port. So these are different ports. So I want to make sure that we are specifically fetching this URL. Then we're going to do a .then. So once we've fetched that, we're going to do a .then. And we're going to do res equal arrow res.json. Okay. So what this means is the server is responding with JSON, but the raw response object, which is res, isn't like automatically usable. You can't use that. So when you do res.json, that's converting the responsibility, like the response body, into a JavaScript object that we can work with like directly. So like I was saying, with the backend, we have that data. That data is a JSON object, but you have to do .json so that it's being able to be viewed in the front end. Then we're going to do another command. We're going to do .then, and we're going to do data equals arrow, and we're going to do open curly, and we're going to do space dot space. Yeah. What is the error? Why is it mad at me? Oh, because we have to actually put stuff in that. That's why I got mad. Oh well. Okay. Okay. So we're going to put all of our documents within this. Okay. So this data, like data is our actual user object. So we can make a data object like we did Bob 28 with coding as a hobby. And now we can pull out those values and show them on the page. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to do document dot query selector. It's already got that for me. And I'm going to do p dot text content. So I can get that as text equals. And I'm going to do this in separate lines. We can have it like all written out in one name. And I'm going to get the name of the data. And then similarly, I'm going to do age. And then the exact same thing. I'm going to do the age of the data. Not like the age of the data, but like the age variable. And then hobby, $, data dot hobby. Okay, and I'm gonna add a semicolon here, so I don't have that problem. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what that is. So this is gonna select our P paragraph tag in our HTML, and it's gonna replace whatever text we have with the data that we fetch. And this is basically how your front end is gonna dynamically display the backend data without refreshing the page. Otherwise, we just keep refreshing every time it got backend data, but this way we're able to dynamically do it. And we are making sure that we're getting that specific data. So without this specific piece of code that we just coded, the front end would have absolutely no idea about what data we have in our backend. So with this code, we're connecting the two types of like code programming files, whatever, HTML and CSS, which is the front end, and then Node/Express, which is our back end. So that way our page can update with live data from our server. So now we're going to reload. So let me click save. And we're going to reload our front end page. Let me go ahead and redeploy the front end. Okay, so you're going to click go live if you've got that live server. If not, you might just have like, sorry, what is it? You might just have to double click on your HTML file. Like that works too, no worries. But let me copy that, paste that, show y'all what that looks like. Okay. So this is the file, but you can see there really aren't any changes, and it's not showing anything, even though we should have our paragraph that shows the JSON from the backend. So like it should have been like browser to backend to browser. Well, like what happened? There's no backend object. So before I go into what caused this error, does anybody have any idea what caused this error? If y'all have done hackathons and you tried to connect front end to back end before, you might know. So I'm going to take like a 2-minute break and see if any of you know what this error is. Why is our back end object not showing up in our front end? Why is the connection not happening? Do any of you know? I know some of you know. I'm waiting. You got it. I've got such utter faith in y'all. Like, think about what troubleshooting errors you would have if you tried connecting front end and back end, but like something goes wrong. What went wrong? I can wait for a little bit longer if some of you are a bit shy. But don't be afraid to say what you think, because there's no wrong answer. It is hard work. Completely understand if y'all don't get it. Also, you're beginners, so if you haven't done this before, hello. We didn't request it from the back end. Super close. Yes. We did request it from the back end, but there is an error in connection. So thank you so much for your response. Thank you for being brave. Basically, what the issue was, I don't know if you can see the errors, so let me go ahead and try showing y'all what that error is. Let me try showing you all the entire screen. So if I right click and I click inspect and I try seeing this error, so I'm going to click console and you can see this error. So you can see like failed to fetch this document. It wasn't able to get it. It couldn't load this resource. There's just an error. So let me explain what that error is. Oh, the backend is listening in the right port. The server port is correct. Y'all have got some great responses. But this is just like a very weird error that you usually get when you try connecting front end and back end, but really good guesses. Y'all are doing great. But y'all are like guessing. These are future ideas for future streams, things I can make that could go wrong, and see if y'all could try to figure it out. But great guesses. Thank you for your courage. But basically, our browser is saying like fetch API cannot load due to access control checks. And what that is that's a CORS error. CORS stands for cross-origin resource sharing. And basically, it's like a safety gate. And the browser is not going to let the web page, which is what we have, the front-end web page, talk to a different server, like on a different host, unless the server says that it's okay. So CORS is an issue you'll have a lot when you try to connect your front end to your back end. There's a really simple fix to it, and I'm going to show you how to do it. So hopefully this helps prevent any like heartache, any stress that you get at a hackathon, because you'll know how to fix it. So let's go back to VS Code, and I will show you all how to fix that. Don't even worry. Okay. But love seeing the interaction. Thank y'all. So here in our back end server, so right now we're in front end. So I'm going to open up my new folder, not my new folder, my old folder. I'm going to go to my back end. Back to my backend in my saber.server.js file. And it stopped running it anyways, but I'm going to Control-C and just trash that. We don't need that anymore. I'm going to install the CORS middleware, which is basically making sure that we can connect to those. So I'm going to do npm install CORS. Hit enter. There you go. It installed CORS quickly for me. That's good. So now I have my server.js file. At the top of this file, oh, not really top, but like I'll show you where, I'm going to add in a CORS constant. So I'm going to do const CORS equals require CORS. So we did something similar to this. Remember, we did the express, like we require express. We're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to require CORS. And then here, once we've created our app, we're going to do app.use CORS. So now that we've created our app, the express, the backend, we're going to make sure that it uses cores so that it can connect the front end and the back end together. And then we've got our normal. So we've got our express, cores, app, use, and port. So now we're going to restart our backend. So I'm going to click save. Make sure you save your file so that those changes are implemented in your server, node server.js. So now I'm restarting the backend. There you go. Server is up and running. So now I'm going to reload my front end. And my front end should now have my HTML object. So let me go back and open it up. So your front end might have stopped working if you close out of your folder. Mine did. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my front end folder again. So I just opened up a new tab. And I'm going to go live on that feature and run my front end one more time. And make sure it's got back end running. Sorry, it looks like it's not working. Let me double check and make sure I did everything right. Yeah, so in our script.js folder, we want our code to be exactly like this. Oh, I think did I forget some stuff? Hold on. Oh no, I did. We're all good. Let me just make sure. Oh, okay. So what was the difference? Because this is the code I was working on earlier, and it looks like it's working, but I don't know what happened. Oh, there it is. Okay, so I keep making a silly mistake. So here is the single quote. This is a single quote. Like, that's what a single quote looks like. It's like probably under your parenthesis or your bracket. And then you have your like little flyaway quote, and that's the quote that you actually need to be using to make sure that your computer identifies this properly. So this is correct, but you want to make sure you're using the right type of code. So here you have single quote, but here you have this like sideway quote that helps you identify pieces of data. So like, I forgot who it was. Someone said it. Don Folayan. Like Don Folayan was saying earlier, we want to make sure that we're using that flyaway quote, and that's going to be like right next to your tilde, close to your tilde, tilde. Make sure you're using that. So let me try that one more time. I'm going to click save on my script.js. Hopefully it's working on the front end. Let's check it out. And there you go. Okay. Yeah, Melissa, don't worry. I'm still on the code. No worries. Y'all can see it. Backticks. Is that what it's called? Let me search that up. Yeah, you got it. Yeah. It's called backticks. See, like, I've used them before, but I've never, like, actually know what they're called. But yes, Zelkoba tree, you are correct. Backticks. That is what we are using. That's what they are called. And we want to make sure we're using backticks instead of single quotes here to make sure that our code runs. Because our code was working perfectly. It's just because we used a single quote, it wasn't able to select like the name, hobby, and age. So it wasn't able to display that. So now, like you see, I've got it running. So let's go check out that front end server and see if that is working now. And there you go. We have our front end page, and it's got our object that it got from the back end. So it got our name, age, and coding, and hobby, which is coding. So a little bit more explanation about that cores issue that we were talking about. So the reason why it didn't work was because the browser, so for me, Google Chrome, maybe for you, Safari, Firefox. The browser blocked us because our backend, which was that backend folder that we had, didn't give us explicit permission to access data from our front end. So by using Chorus, downloading that, putting that in our files, we gave it explicit permission. So now the browser lets our request go through. And this is a super common step that you'll go through when you're trying to connect a front end and a back end. And the reason for this is because they're running on different origins, which means like our back end, we told it to run on port 3000. But our front end usually automatically just runs on port 5500 or 5500. And since they're running on two different ports, two different origins, they're not linked to each other. And so our browser gets a little confused. Don Fulan coming back with the helpful hints. Yes, you can download the toggle quote VS extension. It helps change quotes with control plus quote. Nice. That is really useful. Yeah. So if you download the toggle quote VS extension, apparently it will change your quotes. So that is super useful. Very nice. So we're going to now you can see the specific web page and kind of like what this object is. So thank you for that helpful tip. If anyone wants to put their name, age, and hobby in the chat, I can reprogram the backend and have it display that. So if anyone wants to do that, feel free to type in the chat. Would love to hear what y'all's hobbies are. If you're worried about doxing yourself with age, put whatever you want. Just give me a quick response for name, age, and hobby. What y'all feel like that is for you. I'll wait for a little bit. Hopefully I get a response. But it'll be super cool because this is very customizable. The whole goal is so that y'all can see how you can change things. There, okay. Z1 says years 19 sleeping. Okay, nice. Yeah, I get that. Your name is ZZ and your hobby is sleeping. Valid. So let me show you how we're gonna change that. Where is my code? Okay. So we're back to our code, and this is the front end, but I want the back end, so I'm going to go back to the back end. Oh, it looks like it's not actually sharing the back end. Let me switch that out. Thank you, ZZ, for your courage. If anybody else wants to put in their name, age, and hobby, I can also code you in and put your stuff up on the screen, so let me know. But we're back to our server file, and here we're going to change the name to years, valid name, age 19, hobby is sleeping. Perfect. I see another response. I will get to you in a little bit. So we're going to hit save, and that'll work. And we're going to do. Let's see. So we want to restart our server, make sure that it's running again. So I'm going to do my node server.js. Again, install cores. And it's running. And let's try my localhost one time. And oops, sorry. I reloaded that automatically, but for the next one, I'll show you all show it happening live. Let me show you. Tab, first web page. There you go. Oh, you can't see it. There you go. There you go, ZZ. There you are up on the screen. We've got your name for years, age 19, hobby sleeping. There you go. That's you. And then next we've got Will up. Will at 25 dev. Okay. There you go. Let's do that. So we're going to switch back into our VS code. Love the interaction, y'all. Keep it coming. Love interacting and talking to y'all. So I'm not just talking to an empty screen like I always say. Will 25. Ooh, I opened up root code. That's my bad. 25. Oh, I opened it up again. Why does that keep? Oh, it's because I hit 5. Okay, that's annoying. Let me copy paste the 5 because you can't see anything. There you go. Okay, so this is my VS Code. I changed it to Will. I'm going to do a 25, and then I'm going to do hobby is dev. There you go. I'm going to save that file. I'm going to do all my commands again. npm install cores node server.js, and now it's running. Let me show you all that live update that I was talking about. Okay, so you can see it's on it what it was before. So we had ZZZ, we had years 19, and hobby was sleeping. So now I'm going to reload that page, and boom, you saw it updating live because that was my live server updating, and we got Will 25 dev. Perfect. So thank you all for your engagement. That was super great. And that's just a little bit about how we can connect the front end to the back end. And we will be moving on into our, I think, second to final part. So we're moving on into databases and data flows. So basically a database is a very organized spreadsheet. It lives on a server and it can handle millions of records. And you can kind of think, like, remember how I was saying, like, the chef would take meals out of the fridge? You can kind of think of the fridge as the database. So we're going to create like a JavaScript object just to keep it simple. But like we made one before, we're going to go ahead and make another one. So let me show y'all what we're going to do. We're going to go back to that server.js file in our backend folder. Back to server.js. And here we're going to add in an object. We're going to do constant users equals, and we're going to make a set of users. So do ID1, do name. I feel like a generic name is Alice, age 25. Ooh, damn it, I can't do the fives. It's so annoying. I should fix that later. And then we're going to do ID2, and then we're going to do name. Again, we're going to go back to my default of Bob. If any of y'all want your name / hobby, or not hobbies, name or age in here, feel free to put it in the chat and I'll switch it over while I'm live coding with y'all. And then we're going to do our app.get again. And so we're actually going to just copy paste this. We don't want this anymore. We don't want to build in that object natively. We want to do it after we make our users. So here I've got my res.json, and here, instead of sending this JSON object, like this new one that I'm creating, I'm just going to pass in users. And I'll end that with a parenthesis. I don't need that bracket anymore. Users, parenthesis, and a semicolon. Boom, boom. There you go. And now I'm going to hit save again. And so here we be going to API users. We're like returning multiple records with like 1 and 2. And basically, like in a real app, this would come from MySQL or like MongoDB, if y'all saw that stream earlier. So like kind of going back to the question here, like we are returning fake multiple records because like it's very complex to connect to a database, and that's like not really the point of this stream. The stream was more like how web apps work. But if we were to use actual data, that would be coming from MySQL and MongoDB, so like a real database. But this is just like fake data so that we can move this stream along quicker. So yeah, that is a little bit about like how we can present these multiple pieces of like data. And so that's like kind of like our fake database that we have here. So like, you know, you would ideally have like constant users and like you have a database here. So that would be through like MongoDB or MySQL. But here we're making a fake database, and then we are sending a JSON object back with those users. So now we're going to build kind of like a mini app, I guess you could say. So let's go back to our front end. And you might have to open up your folder again. I opened it up in a new tab, like as a new folder, but feel free to do what you need to do to get that back up. But I'm going to go back to my script.js file, whatever you called it. It's just your front end JavaScript file. So I'm back there, and I'm going to add a couple pieces of code. And basically what I want to do is I want to have the front end fetch all of these users and list them like as the page loads. So what I want to do is I've got my fetch. I'm going to keep that the same, but here I'm going to make a slight change. So instead of user, like my one singular user, remember I made that constant users, and I want to use that constant. So here I'm going to put users. And then I've got my .then file, so this is perfect. I still want it to be, I want my response to be a JSON object, and then I'm going to do, instead of here, so we're just going to change like all of this. We're going to delete all of, actually, we're just going to delete this part. So I'm going to do users instead of data here. So users, because that's my new data object, and I'm going to open up a bracket. There you go. And I'm going to do, I don't think that's supposed to be, yeah, that's not supposed to be. Okay, and then I'm going to do constant. So I'm going to make a new constant, call it list, and I'm going to say document dot create element, element, and I'm going to put this as underlined. So underlined in HTML is just going to be UL, keeping with those conventions of HTML there. And then here I'm going to do users, and I'm going to do for each. So this is to help me display my content within HTML, like on my HTML website. So I'm doing underlined like to make sure that like this list is like underlined, and it's like it creates this new, or sorry, not underlined. Oh my god, I totally lied. It's not underlined. It's unordered list. I'm getting my HTML mixed up a little bit. But UL does not mean underlined in HTML. It means unordered list. So I'm creating an unordered list here so that I can list all of my users like one by one. So I'm going to do user for each. And then here I'm going to go user equal, and equal, I got an arrow, and then I'm going to do an open bracket. And here I'm going to do constant, and I'm going to do li for list, and I'm going to say document dot create element, and then li. So li is just a list item, like li list item. It's creating a list item within that unordered list. So here I'm going to do li dot text content, because I want this on, not text node, text content. I want this list item to have text content, and here I'm going to do equal, and remember, use that special back quote there, and I'm going to do a $sign to make sure I'm getting those elements, and I'm going to do user.name. So you see how like now it's like dynamically highlighting these specific colors. Like before it wasn't doing that because I was using the wrong single quote, but there you go. And then we're going to do user.age. We're going to do years old, and the single quote, and the semicolon, and then we're going to do list.append child, which basically just appends the next item within that list to the unordered list. And then we've got that going. We're going to have our semicolon there, and then I'm going to do document.body.append child, and then the child is going to be the list this time. So basically here, I am appending each list item to that unordered list to the list constant that I created up here, which contains my unordered list. But here, I'm appending the actual list of all of the users. I'm appending that into the body of the document. So all of this code, like I've gone through it line by line, but if you just want a quick overview, basically it's just fetching all the users, and it's going to list them all dynamically based on the data that we get. So like I was saying, if we had actual data within like SQL or MongoDB, it would be a little bit different in terms of like, it would be actual data. But here, since we faked the data, not like faked, we like made the data, since the connections are a little bit difficult, we are appending them manually. So there you go. And yeah, we've got that going on there. So let me show you how that looks. I'm going to click save really quick. I'm going to stop running that. Going to run it one more. Let me make sure I went and ran it actually. npm is of course. basically connecting the back end and the front end right now. And I saved all of those files. I started running, let me dispose that port and open up a new one. Okay, looks like it's not, or maybe I'm putting this wrong. Let me double check. Okay, I'm running the HTML. Okay. Basically just trying to think about what the error is, because it's still showing me this is your very first live demo. So let me go through the code one more time, make sure I did everything right. I'm fetching the list of users. Yeah, that's good. It's probably something to do with this line. It's always something to do with this line, I feel like. Nope, that line is good. This is real life debugging happening, y'all. If you're curious how debugging works. Well, I feel like there's better ways to debug, but no. I'm supposed to just click on that. There's the problem. It says it cannot get the API of users. Okay. Let's go see what's wrong there. It's probably something wrong in the back end. Let's go investigate what is wrong in the back end. Okay, app.get, and I've got my use. Aha! Y'all, I found the problem. I'm actually mad. Okay, let me show you. This is why it's important to read over your code before you try deploying it and make mistakes. Let me show you. So here, I was like looking through it and I was like, what's wrong with my server? Why isn't it working? It's because I still have app.user and user is not anything anymore. It's not like a constant. So we need to change that to app.users, plural, and that should hopefully fix it, whatever problem we were having. So let me save all. And I'm going to click new terminal. I'm going to do npm install cores and node server.js. Get my server running. Perfect. And now I'm going to stop running dispose my live server. If y'all aren't using live server, you're just going to have to re-click on that file. I'm really hoping this works this time and there's not some other error that I missed, but we will see. You can always debug. Oh, yay, it worked. Okay, yeah, that was the issue. Always make sure you read over your code and do spell checks before you display them to the world. So it's working now. That is perfect. There you go. So hello world, very first live HTML demo, and you can see that it dynamically lists our objects. So this is not something that we like coded in or hard coded. This is like an object. This is data that we're getting from the back end. And this way we're able to display it and we're able to add like fields. Like we're not just saying like Alice and like these are objects that we created. We have ages for them. So that was super cool in my opinion. Hopefully y'all found it cool too. Can I get like a thumbs up or like an emoji or a it worked in the chat if it worked for y'all? Because this is kind of like the end of our like development and kind of like live programming. Like I'll talk about it a little bit more, but like it's not the end of the stream, but like this is the end of the live programming. So if I could get any reaction in the chat, like thumbs up, it worked, smiley face emoji, frowny face emoji if it didn't work, just any sort of response in the chat to see if it worked for y'all, that would be great. Okay, looks like it worked for Wilf. Nice with, I think those are, is that a peace sign? Wow, I've never seen that emoji. Nice. But yay, glad to see it worked for you. Did it work for anybody else? Hopefully it did. Let me know if it didn't for y'all. I really want to know. Yay! Yay! Glad to hear that it worked for you. But let me know if anyone else is having any trouble. Like, I do these streams live so that I can help y'all live and troubleshoot with you. So if something's not working, that is why I'm here. I am going to try to end like a little bit early, so like get your comments in because Cecilia's got mini event coming up in just about 6 minutes. Cecilia's got Bob Ross mini paint coming up, so I want to make sure I end before that. Yeah, nice emoji. Nice. Okay. Hopefully it works for the rest of y'all. I see a couple of y'all on the stream, so hopefully it works for y'all. But yeah, that's just a quick intro session about how we can connect the front end to the back end and how we can kind of like create our own databases and kind of get data from that and how the back end responds to that. Kind of back to the formal slides, like, yeah, we put it all together. That was part 5. So basically today we saw how the front end renders pages, how the back end serves data, how APIs can connect them, and where databases fit in. So hopefully y'all enjoyed that stream. This is just a little bit about like demystifying how web apps work, showing y'all how front end, back end works, how we get that data. So that's all from me. Let me get a feedback link out to y'all so that we can make sure that you are getting everything that you need. Ooh, I joined something too quick. Let me get that out. So a big part of our streams is getting feedback from y'all. That is really important to us. So check out the feedback link that I just sent. It's really, really important that we get to know how we did on the streams. So if you liked this stream, if you enjoyed it, if you were like, oh, I learned something super cool, or like, I like listening to this streamer and like talk about this and this, and like, please put that in a feedback form. It takes like maybe 30 seconds to 1 minute. It's a really quick form. It's just like, how was Global Hack Week? So please fill that out. Ideally, we have you filling them out after every stream that you attend so we get to know how the streams worked. But if you don't have the time for that, I totally understand. Like once every Global Hack Week is totally chill too. But that is our stream. So that's the feedback link for the stream. And then also just putting out like the next event on the schedule. So you'll have the general schedule, but our Bob Ross paint mini event, like I said, is happening in 4 minutes. The time is going by quick. So if y'all want to go ahead and go to that event, make sure you click on that check-in. It is super important that y'all take a break from hacking and from going through these technical streams, which is why Cecilia is running this stream. And it's going to be like a fun little paint event. So if you're tired, you just want to break, you want to hang out with the MLH community, make sure you go and check out that stream. Yay, glad to see the thank you, super glad. Yay. Hopefully this stream was useful for y'all. I'm putting the feedback link back up there. Any GitHub links for the resources? Not really. So we didn't really code anything this time. And all of the code is like on the YouTube link if you need anything. Any resources past this, you would want to go into like front end and back end development. You can also check out the MLH YouTube channel. I did like an intro to web development stream. That one I went more in depth into like actual web development and like front end and back end. So if you are interested and you want to pursue things further, definitely check that out. And yeah, for sure. Glad you enjoyed the stream. Well, hopefully you enjoyed the stream. And yeah, definitely feel free to do that. I'll hang around for one more minute. I really want to end this stream before Cecilia's mini event starts. So I'll hang around if y'all have questions. But thank you so much for joining. Thank you for taking 2 hours out of your day to hang out with me and learn about how web apps work. And if y'all like the stream and kind of the like teaching nature of this stream, check out my other streams. I've got two more streams coming up today. I'm running a technical track this Global Hack Week, like how things work. Next up, I've got how machine learning works and then how cloud computing works. So check that out if you're interested. I think it's super cool. But yeah, do, do, do. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Bye. I'll just stay on until 2, which is like the official end time. If anybody has any questions, but feel free to hop off. Thank y'all for joining. Take some rest. Go hang out with Cecilia. I'll play some music. Bye. Okay, it's 2 p.m. Well, CT. I don't know what time zone y'all are in, but it's the end of the stream. If y'all have any questions, just make sure that you post them in the Beginners Week channel or anywhere in the Discord where like channels that are like ask questions. If you have any questions related to the stream or any questions in general. But I'm gonna hop off now so y'all can hang out with Cecilia or just go take a break. But thank you so much for your time. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream now. Bye.